They knocked him in the back immediately and just tossed him out and put a new puppet on. Can you believe it? I can talk without a teleprompter. That's crazy.
But if he loses, it's going to be hard for you to pretend you never supported him.
All in. In the deep end.
Yeah, no, you are definitely in the deep end. You cannot touch bottom.
It's all in, baby.
Is it fun?
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
How hard?
I mean, there may be some, in the hopefully unlikely event that he loses, there may be some vengeance on me.
Were you kidding?
I mean, it's possible.
You've got to be one of the biggest government contractors.
We do essential work for the government.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's not like, we do useful, essential work that we compete for and win contracts on because our product is much better and costs less. That's why we get government contracts.
No, I know.
and I mean, if you take, for example, the NASA contract to transport astronauts to and from the space station, NASA awarded 2 contracts at the start, one to Boeing and one to SpaceX. Boeing was awarded twice as much as SpaceX. SpaceX has done all the astronaut transport from the space station, and Boeing has only done one transport of 2 astronauts to the space station, and we had to bring them back. Boeing got twice as much as SpaceX. So there's this total misunderstanding that my companies have been subsidized and supported by the government and get all these, and it's like, do you really think that a Biden administration is going to subsidize me?
Probably not.
Are you kidding? No. In fact, they take away every contract they possibly can. So, for example, there was the FCC contract to $42 billion for providing rural broadband.
Yes.
Okay. We actually first said, look, we think there shouldn't be any subsidies, so we recommend that this program just not exist. But since you're insisting that it exists, we will compete, and we have better products. So we won, I don't know, about a quarter of it, which would have included the devastated areas like North Carolina and stuff. And the FCC took it away illegally. They just voted. 3 out of 5 commissioners voted away and said, even though you want it, we're rescinding it.
On what grounds?
And do you know how many people they've connected?
How many?
0.
So you think that was political?
Well, the 3 Democrats voted against it, and the 2 Republicans voted for it.
So you tried to get Starlink.
Yes.
Into North Carolina, into Western North Carolina, the areas devastated by the hurricane.
We have got it. It is in there, and it is the primary means of communication in the devastated areas.
So, but back to the original question, about the potential consequences if, having gone all in, this doesn't work.
Yeah.
I mean, you had to have thought about this long and hard before you did it. What was your thinking?
I mean, yeah. So, my view is that if Trump doesn't win this election, it's the last election we're going to have. That the Democrats, the Dem machine, has been importing so many people, bringing in so many illegals, flying in with this like CBP border app thing that nobody even knew about, like secret program. That's illegal, basically. It's illegal, but there's no action by the DOJ to actually to stop it from happening. They're transporting large numbers of illegals to swing states. If you look at the numbers, these are the numbers from the government website. So, like from the Democrat-administered government websites. Like, where do you get this data? From the government website that is run by Democrats. And there are triple-digit increases in illegals to all the swing states. And in some cases, it's like 700% over the last 3 years. Now, these swing state margins are, sometimes 10, 20,000 votes. So what happens if you put, hundreds of thousands of people into each swing state? And when somebody is granted asylum, they are fast-tracked. They can get a green card, and then 5 years after the green card, they can get citizenship and they can fully legally vote. And when they do so, they vote overwhelmingly Democrat. And sometimes I get this rebuttal of like, well, a lot of them, their social values don't align with sort of the far left sort of woke ideology. Yeah. I said, that's true, but that's not their top priority. Their top priority is getting their friends and family also to the United States. And the Dems also issue all these programs, these sort of handouts, essentially, that make them beholden to the Democratic Party. So they vote Dem. That's what happens. So my prediction is, if there's another 4 years of a Dem administration, they will legalize so many illegals that are there that the next election there won't be any swing states, and we'll be a single party country, just like California is a single party state. It's a supermajority Dem state in California.
Because of immigration?
Yes.
Has it improved the state?
No, it's not. And California just passed, which is shocking. It's hard to believe this is even real, but California just passed a law making it illegal to require voter ID in any election at all in California.
Have they extended the same?
Actually, what's going on right now.
But
by the way, they're proud of it. They're not hiding it.
But it's
also
only
law.
voting. It's not buying a gun or buying liquor or buying a pack of cigarettes or flying on an airplane or renting a hotel room. It's only voting that it's illegal to do.
Oh, if you try to buy a gun, I mean, they're going to ID you 6 ways to Sunday. Yeah, California's trying to make it basically illegal to own a gun. Mm-hmm. And the same people that demanded vaccine IDs for if you want to travel or do anything are the same ones who say no voter ID is required.
Is there any reason
obviously hypocritical
to pass a law like that except to abet voter fraud?
It's so that fraud cannot be proven. So it enables large scale fraud and no way to prove it, because how would you prove it? It's literally impossible. No ID. You're not even allowed to show your ID. It's insane.
Well, it is insane.
Insane. So, yeah, the purpose of no voter ID is obviously to conduct fraud in elections. Obviously.
There can be no other explanation.
I mean, they come up with some nice sounding thing.
People don't have IDs. Could you live in this country without an ID?
Yeah, I mean, their common rebuttal is like it's racist to require ID, and which is insane. I think it's actually racist and patronizing to say that people can't figure out how to get ID, obviously.
But how could you live here without an ID? I don't think it's even possible.
Can't.
Yeah.
You can't do anything.
Yeah.
You need ID for everything. Like the list of the things you need ID for is basically everything, except voting. So
you see the rest of the country.
It's total bullshit, obviously.
Obviously.
Yes.
But that doesn't in any way minimize the aggression or self-righteousness they bring to this conversation.
Yes.
You're a racist if you want that.
Right. Whereas, in fact, obviously, someone is racist if they say that people of a particular race cannot get ID. That's patronizing and racist. That's absurd.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, it's like when the governor of New York said people in the ghetto don't know how to use computers or something like that. I mean, like, super out of touch.
For sure.
Yeah.
So,
it's like,
so there's a really clear template.
Maybe she doesn't know how to use computers, but they do, obviously.
I don't think Hochul could use a computer.
Yeah, I don't think
she's not qualified intellectually.
Yeah, no, probably not.
But not everyone in New York is as dumb as Kathy Hochul. I think that's true.
Yeah.
So you see the other 49 states becoming California if the machine wins.
Well, you don't need all 49 to go that way. You just need enough to have the election, have there not be swing states. I mean, there are only 6 swing states.
Yep.
So there are only 6 states out of 50 right now that are in contention. So if those 6 states that are in contention by narrow margins are no longer in contention, then the only contest will be for who wins the Democratic primary. That's how it is in California. That's how it is in New York. There's no party versus party situation. The only contest is who wins the Democratic primary. And as we've seen with the appointment of Kamala, who no one voted for, even in the Democratic primary.
Yes.
Where's the democracy here?
But why not join the easier side? I mean, you're creating problems for yourself by getting on stage with Trump. I mean, you must have had friends who said that to you.
Sure. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But people who care about you, like, why even get involved in this?
Well, because I think we want to remain a democracy, and we don't want to become a one-party state.
Yes.
That's the reason. And it's the exact opposite. The people call Trump a threat to democracy. But the people who are saying Trump's a threat to democracy are themselves the threat to democracy.
Yes.
One-party rule is not democracy. One party where essentially the party elite pick a candidate, as happened with Kamala, is not democracy. Where did the people vote? Show me where the people voted. No, there were no people voting. It was all just Dem party elite that just appointed someone. And when the pro-Biden puppet's ratings sagged, they knifed him in the back immediately and just tossed him out and put a new puppet on. That's exactly what happened. Tell me I'm wrong.
Well, not only you're right, I mean, it's almost not even worth criticizing Kamala Harris.
No, exactly.
What does she have to do with it?
There's no point in criticizing Kamala. She's simply the face of a much larger machine.
Yes.
And she will say whatever the teleprompter, whatever's on the teleprompter, she's going to say it.
Yes.
Now she gets stuck if the teleprompter breaks. That happened recently. I think the
Yeah.
the teleprompter stalled, and she was just like looping for a while, for about a minute. So I think that happened yesterday or something. It was pretty funny to watch. But she'll just say whatever words are on the teleprompter. So it's really whoever controls the teleprompter is the actual sort of that's who's actually in charge.
And who is that, do you think?
Well, I've tried to pin it down. It's not like any one kind of mastermind. It's not like it seems to be. It's like Kamala's sort of a marionette with 1,000 puppet masters type of thing. Like not it's or maybe it's somewhere north of 100 is what it seems like.
Yes, I bet you know 80 of them.
I probably know most of them. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, just by virtue of your job and what you've been doing for the last 30 years, I mean,
yeah.
And I should say, I think you voted for Biden.
I'd like to see a matchup of those, call it the top 100 puppet masters on the FD client list.
Do you think there's some overlap?
Strong overlap. Strong overlap.
When are we going to see that list, do you think?
I don't know. It's mind-blowing that they've not tried to prosecute even one. Not even the worst offender on the Epstein client list. They have not even tried to prosecute even one. That's insane.
Well, because they have a lot of diabetic grandmothers who were outside the Capitol on January 6th. They're kind of occupied.
Yeah, they've put like 500 or 600 January 6th protesters in prison, and not one person on the Epstein client list.
Will that ever come out, do you think?
I think part of why Kamala's getting so much support is that if Trump wins, that Epstein client list is going to become public.
Yes.
And some of those billionaires behind Kamala are terrified of that outcome.
Yeah. Do you think Reid Hoffman's uncomfortable?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Gates.
And Gates. It feels like we're getting to a place where the rest of us know too much. Is this, do you know what I mean? I mean, it's easier to live in a society where you don't really know what the people in charge are doing or why they're doing it. But now, thanks, I would say, largely to X.
Yeah.
I think that's fair to say that.
Yeah.
We do know a lot. Not everything, but we know a lot. And I wonder, where does that, like, what happens next now that we know all this? The kidnapper's shown us his face. Like, what happens?
Well, I think if Trump wins, we can do some house cleaning and shed light on things. All the X platform does is adhere to freedom of speech within the bounds of the law.
Yes.
And if people want to change the laws, they can change the laws. And so, like X in different countries, X does censor in countries where censorship is the law. We don't try to, push American laws in other countries, but we do try to stick to the law in any given country. That's all we're doing. We open source our algorithm. We try to be as transparent as possible. But those who want to push lies obviously hate truth and transparency.
Yes.
Because it shows them to be liars.
If she wins, I mean, how can they let X continue in its current form, in its current role in American society?
They won't. They will try to shut it down by any means possible.
What do you mean by any means possible?
I mean, with law, either they'll try to pass laws. They'll try to prosecute the company, prosecute me. The amount of lawfare that we're seeing taking place is outrageous. I mean, there are many examples, but like the Department of Justice, for example, launched a huge lawsuit against SpaceX for failing to hire asylum seekers.
Come on.
Yeah,
asylum seekers?
Asylum, not asylum, those who've been granted asylum seekers. Now there's also a law called International Traffic and Arms Regulations that because SpaceX develops advanced missile technology that can be used in nuclear ICBMs, that we have to be very careful with who we hire. We can only hire someone if they're a permanent resident or citizen. That's what the ITAR law says. Then there's another law that says that you cannot discriminate against asylum seekers. So we're damned if you do, damned if you don't. The DOJ did a massive lawsuit against SpaceX for failing to hire asylum seekers, even though it is illegal for us to hire asylum seekers under ITAR law. This is an actual thing that's going on, and they can only do a fairly small number of lawsuits every year. So why did they pick this one?
Because you X.
Yeah, lawfare.
I mean,
it's like that famous quote from Beria. The
Yeah.
Stalin's like chief torturer and head of the secret police. Beria said, "Show me the man, and I'll show you the crime."
Exactly.
I mean, we have so many laws that it is actually impossible to, impossible to do business, impossible to operate without being violating some law, because you have laws like the ones I just gave you, where both things are illegal.
Yes, they contradict one another.
They contradict one another. So it's illegal to discriminate against asylum seekers in jobs, but it's also illegal for us to hire asylum seekers.
But it discredits the law.
They just chose one. They chose the one law, and ignored the other one. And the Department of Justice at federal level prosecutors face X for that.
What do you think?
It's mad.
Well, it also discredits the idea of law, which some of us
Yes.
want to take seriously.
Absolutely. This affects both the perception of American justice and the reality of it.
Yes.
So, no, I'm actually a big fan of the American justice system, and I think on balance, we've got still have an excellent judicial system. We still have judges that care about the letter and intent of the law. I mean, not just the letter, but also the intent of the law.
Yes.
But something that people should be concerned about is that there's an increasing movement to place activists as judges. This is, if you look at who did the Biden administration confirm as federal judges, and who've been confirmed at the state level in sort of far left states, increasingly it is not judges who care about justice, or they don't care about following the law. They care about social justice, not justice.
Right.
What they call social justice. Activists as judges. Now you got a real problem.
Do you think if
that continues, we will not have a real justice system.
Or a real country?
Yes.
I mean, yeah. But again, your purchase of X has been, I think it's fair to say, even if I hated it, I would say this because it's true, it's been pivotal in American politics.
Yeah.
And in American society. Do you think they could shut you down if the Democrats continue to hold power?
They'll unequivocally try.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if they get a majority in the Senate and House and the presidency, then they can simply pass a law and delete Section 230. So simply make us liable for what anyone says on a platform with, like at this point, almost 600 million monthly active users.
Yeah.
Which is impossible. That's like trying to regulate speech in city of like a country.
Yeah.
So
a big country.
yeah, you'd just be instantly bankrupt.
So just to re-ask,
I believe in freedom.
yeah, I've noticed.
America's supposed to be the land of liberty.
Yeah.
Freedom and opportunity. So that we try to, as much as possible, maximize people's individual liberty, and that we try to be a country where you succeed based on your talent and hard work.
Yes.
Those are two fundamental values. That's what's made America great. And if we lose those, our decline will be swift.
What do you, if you had to bet, I mean, does freedom reassert itself in America or not?
Well, that's why I think part of why this election is so pivotal. I think with the Trump administration, I think we can improve the liberty of Americans. I think we need to have sensible deregulation where we keep the regulations that matter. Like we don't want to destroy, important habitats or
Yes.
Encourage oil spills or anything like that. But there are so many regulatory agencies that have overlapping responsibility that we are smothering progress. And we can't build a high-speed rail in America. You look at the ridiculous high-speed rail project in California, where they've spent $7 billion, and all they've got to show for it is a 1,600-foot section of concrete with no rails on it. The picture of it online. But I do think this is that in the sort of well-meaning sort of liberal mindset. I know I've many good friends who have they have deep empathy for their fellow human beings.
Good.
And they care. But the challenge that they have is that they've often grown up in a very sheltered existence where everyone around them is nice and civilized, and they just really don't encounter people who are have uncontrolled violent tendencies or like hurting people. They've just always grown up in a sort of kumbaya,
Yeah.
everyone is nice, hippie commune situation.
Minneapolis pre-riots. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but there's a small number of people, it's like a few percent of society that either can't have anger management issues that are so severe that they lose their temper and hurt or murder others. And there's a small, it's like I said, it's not a large number that enjoy hurting other people. And if you do not incarcerate them, they will do that. They will hurt other people. And what I see is what I call shallow empathy. Like people have empathy for the criminals, but not empathy for the victims of the criminals.
Yes.
And so if you simply have, and I believe one should have deep empathy to say, like, what is the greater good for society? Is it better to incarcerate violent criminals and prevent them from hurting people, or to let them loose and allow those people to be hurt? And I think the latter is much worse. You know, my mom lives in New York, and it's my mom at this point has gone from being Democrat to Republican, and her friends in New York are having the same experience, because you know what'll turn you from a Democrat to a Republican pretty fast is getting punched in the face while you walk down the street.
Yes. For no reason.
Well, you know, there's this whole movement to decriminalize crime.
Oh, I've noticed, yes. What is that?
Madness.
Yeah.
Like to make crime legal. Like in California, you can just steal things and nobody does anything. It's like fully legal to steal anything under $1,000 in California. That's why they don't have to like lock up goods behind these glass and plastic walls. So you go to the supermarket and you can't even get toothpaste. So. And this has actually been particularly difficult on small mom and pop operations because they don't have the resources of a large corporation. So it's put a lot of small businesses just killed them.
So when you're at dinner parties and you make these points, what do people say?
Well, actually, I think I've been able to persuade people that we need to reverse course here. I think I have actually been able to persuade a number of people, and I think there actually is now a ballot on a California ballot initiative to recriminalize theft. All right, guys, there's a reason why we criminalize theft in the first place. So, and then amazingly, I think Gavin Newsom came out against that proposition. Yeah, no, honestly, he's the goddamn Joker. Gavin Newsom is like from the Batman Dark Knight, the Joker is in charge of Gotham. You remember when he took over New York? Basically, and the criminals roam free and the citizens are arrested. That's California. But I mean, at least there's a ballot initiative, which I think will probably pass, to say, no, it is a crime to steal things.
What's going on in Europe, would you say? Europe suddenly seems like a different place.
Well, I mean, my biggest concern for Europe is that the birth rate is half replacement rate.
Yes.
So Europe is rapidly becoming, with each passing year, older and older, with fewer and fewer young people. So I think at a most fundamental level, unless Europe has a birth rate at least roughly equal to replacement rate, it is in population freefall. Population collapse is what's going on in Europe.
If it became clear to the rest of us that it was out of control and posed a threat to humanity, would there be any way to stop it?
Hopefully you have the AIs that are pro-human be stronger than the AIs that are not.
Battle of the AIs.
Yeah. I can guarantee that the split second I see any evidence of aliens, I will immediately post that on the X platform. I'll probably need, if this happens, quite a significant security team. So that, because someone might literally go postal on me from the post office. Now for myself, I sort of see myself as a sort of engineer, physicist. For me, I'm culturally Christian. I grew up Christian. I mean, I was Anglican, was baptized. I went to Sunday school.
Yeah.
Actually, oddly enough, I was sent to Hebrew preschool and Anglican Sunday school at the same time. So it was Habana Gila one day, Jesus Elo the next, which is, if you're 5 years old, it's fine. But I'm not Jewish. It's just that my father's two partners in his engineering firm I went to the same Hebrew preschool, and it was near our house, so I just got sent there. And so, but maybe this will make me even more enemies. But I have trouble sort of believing all these stories, these religious stories. But obviously a lot of people do, and I respect people who want to have religious views. I'm not trying to dissuade them from their religious views. But I guess the operating system I have is sort of a physics engineering operating system where I try to understand as much as possible about reality. In physics, You're not supposed to believe anything absolutely. You're supposed to question things. That's how you discover new physics. In engineering, that's how you discover if your machine will work or not work. Will the rocket get to orbit?
Yeah.
If your rocket is designed with physics in mind correctly, it will get to orbit, and if it is not, it will not get to orbit, no matter what your belief system is. You can believe, whether, yeah. It's I meet a lot of people, speaking of LA, I meet a lot of people in LA who believe witchcraft is real, and then you can do spells, and that spells and witchcraft, magic is real. I'm like, can you magic us to the moon? And no one has yet been able to magic us to the moon. Well, the spells can't be that good. Okay, if you can't, I want to go to the moon. Let's go. How about Mars? And
we got to the moon the first time.
We definitely went to the moon. Yes, we went to the moon. We didn't go to the moon. We went to the moon several times.
Right. Oh, yeah. I just want to check your view on that.
We 100% went to the moon. I know in depth the technical designs of the rockets, the spacecraft, everything.
Yes.
What went right, what went wrong, and it was a remarkable piece of technology, like an incredible piece of technology to go to the moon in '69.
Yeah.
That was like reaching into the future and pulling the future forward dramatically, and it was an important ideological battle with communism because they couldn't put a person on the moon, and capitalism could. What questions should we ask that we don't even know to ask? So
when you say, what are the aliens?
Where are the aliens?
Oh.
Like, why don't we see them? A lot of people think we see aliens, but I've not seen any evidence of aliens. We've got 6,000 satellites in orbit, and not once have we had to maneuver around an alien spacecraft.
Right. But on this Earth, the U.S. military's had to do a lot of maneuvering around objects they can't explain. Well,
unidentified flying objects is one thing, but I mean, there's always a bunch of classified programs that are underway of new aircraft and new missiles and things. So that are classified even within the military. So it's only if you have the top secret compartmented clearance, would you know about this new program? So then some pilot sees something moving fast and says, "Hey, I saw a UFO." I'm like, "Yeah, that was actually a new weapons program, but we can't tell you that." If you can guarantee that the split second I see any evidence of aliens, I will immediately post that on the X platform. And it'll probably be our #1 post of all time.
That'll be your biggest day,
yes,
for sure.
I mean,
but to the question of a power beyond people, beyond our consciousness, a creator, where are you on that?
Well, we must have come from somewhere. So I guess that there must be some creator or creative force or something that caused our existence to come into being. What is the nature of that creator? That I think is unknown. At least I think it is. There's I don't know of a definitive answer to that. So,
but it sounds like you're open.
Yes, I'm very open to, I'm driven by curiosity.
Yes,
and trying to understand more about the nature of the universe. So my driving philosophy is to understand the meaning of life, or really what questions to ask if the meaning of life is not the right question. This guy who's the head of the Extinctionist Society, who's on the front page of the New York Times, quoted as saying, "There are 8 billion people in the world, it would be better if there were none." So there's some people who actually say that explicitly, which isn't completely insane. He's advocating a Holocaust for all of humanity. To utter madness, he should be condemned for such a statement, but he wasn't for some reason. Now, most people on the sort of environmental movement have that implicitly. They don't realize that they have that as their optimization, but that is their actions take us towards extinction. So a lot of people believe that the Earth can't sustain this level of human population, which is utterly untrue. It may seem in a crowded city that there are a lot of people, but actually, if you look down on an airplane and you say, "Look down, am I over a person at any given point in time when you're in an airplane?" The answer is 99.9% of the time, no. Like if you flew from LA to New York and say your job is to drop a ball on someone and hit them, you would fail.
You have to drop a lot of balls.
You have to drop a lot of balls. It would be insane. So all of the humans on Earth can fit on one floor in the city of New York. Yeah, the cross-sectional area of all humans, of 8 billion humans, is small. So we have this totally wrong idea that the Earth is overpopulated, when in fact it is underpopulated.
You said that artificial intelligence, machine intelligence, might be a good thing. Where are we on AI right now, AGI right now, and what are your views?
Well, I think at this point it's obvious to everyone that AI is advancing at a very rapid pace.
Yes.
You can see it with the new capabilities that come out every month or every week sometimes. AI at this point can write a better essay than probably 90%, maybe 95% of all humans. Say write an essay on any given subject. AI right now can beat the vast majority of humans. If you say draw an image, draw a picture, it can draw, like if you try say Midjourney, which is the aesthetics of Midjourney are incredible. It will create incredible images that are better than, again, like 90% of artists. It's just objectively the case. And it'll do it immediately, like 30 seconds later. We're also starting to see AI movies. So you start seeing short films with AI music creation. And the rate at which we're increasing AI compute is exponential, hyper exponential. So there's dramatically more AI compute coming online every month. There seems to be roughly, I don't know, the amount of AI compute coming online is increasing at roughly 500% a year. And that's likely to continue for several years. And then the sophistication of the AI algorithms is also improving. So we're bringing online a massive amount of AI compute and also improving the efficiency of the compute and what the AI software can do. So it's quantitative and qualitative in improvement. So I think next year you'll be able to ask AI. So certainly by the end of next year, make a short movie about something, or probably can do at least a 15-minute show or something like that. So yeah, it's advancing very rapidly. My top concern for AI safety is that we need to have a maximally truth-seeking AI. So this is the most important thing for AI safety, in my opinion. The central lesson that Arthur C. Clarke was trying to convey in 2001: A Space Odyssey was that you shouldn't force AI to lie. So in that book, the AI was told to take the astronauts to the monolith, but they also could not know about the monolith. It resolved that quandary by killing them and taking them to the monolith, or didn't kill all of them, but killed most of them. That's why hell would not open the pod bay doors.
Right.
So very important to have truth-seeking AIs. Now, and what I actually see with the AIs that are being developed is that they're being programmed with the woke mind virus.
So the lying is baked in.
Yes. And we saw this on display very clearly with the release of Google Gemini.
Yes.
Where you would ask for a picture of the founding fathers of the United States, and it would show a group of diverse women, dressed with sort of 18th century garb.
Powdered wigs.
Yeah.
But from St. Lucia.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you say, show me a group of people.
For sure.
And it shows a group of diverse women, that's totally fine. But if you say this very specifically, the founding fathers of the United States, which were, a group of white dudes, then you should show them, and what they actually look like, because you've asked for something which is a fact from history, but it didn't. It was programmed with the woke mind virus so much that it actually, even though it knew the truth, it produced a lie. Now, of course, then people really started playing with it and said, okay, now show me a group of Waffen-SS officers in World War II. Turns out they were also a group of diverse women, according to Gemini. It's not what I expected. So that's why I think the most important thing is to have a maximally truth-seeking AI. That's why I started XAI, and that's our goal with Grok. Now, people will point out cases where Grok gets it wrong, but we try to correct it as quickly as possible.
But maybe even a bigger problem is that when you make decisions that affect people, you want those decisions to be informed by love of people.
Yeah.
And machines are incapable of love.
Yeah. I mean, they certainly are they're capable of, you can program a machine to be philanthropic rather than misanthropic.
Yes. But don't instincts shape decisions, particularly decisions you can't plan for? I mean, if I ask you, a question about one of your children, every answer you give is going to be shaped by your love for that child, and that's why that's what makes us decent parents in the end, is that instinct, which is love. And if a machine has any power over us without that animating instinct, won't it by definition hurt us?
Yeah, well, whether I don't know. We should certainly aspire to program the AI philanthropically, not misanthropically.
Yes.
And to have, like I said, we want it to be truthful and curious, and to foster humanity into the future. And yeah, that's what we want, obviously.
Is there any way, I guess, to set limits on the decisions that machines can make that affect human lives, and make certain that there's some trigger in the system that inserts a human being into the decision-making process?
Well, look, the reality of what's happening, whether one likes it or not, is that we're building super intelligent AIs, hyper intelligent, like intelligent, more intelligent than we can comprehend.
Yes.
So I would liken this to, like, let's say you have a child that is a super genius child, that it's going to be much smarter than you. Then, well, what can you do? You can instill good values in how you raise that child.
Yes.
So even though it's going to be far smarter than you, you can make sure it's got good values, philanthropic values, good morals, honest, productive, that kind of thing. Controlling, at the end of the day, I don't think we'll be able to control it. So I think the best we can do is make sure it grows up well.
You've been saying that for a long time.
Yes, I've been saying it for a long time.
Yes. Are you still as worried about it as you seemed to be 2 years ago when I asked you about it?
Well, I think that, like, my guess is, like, it's 80% likely to be good, maybe 90. So you could think of the glass as 80% full. It's probably going to be great. There's some chance of annihilation.
And you'd say the chance of annihilation is 20%?
10 to 20%, something like that.
How concerned is Sam Altman about annihilation, do you think?
I think in reality he's not concerned about it. I don't trust OpenAI. I mean, I started that company as a non-profit open source.
Yes.
The open in OpenAI, I named the company.
Yeah.
OpenAI as an open source, and it is now extremely closed source, and maximizing profit. So,
does risking?
I don't understand how you actually go from being an open source nonprofit to closed source for maximum profit organization. I'm missing.
Well, but Sam Altman got rich, though, didn't he?
At various points, he's claimed not to be getting rich, but he's claimed many things that were false. And now apparently he's going to get $10 billion of stock or something like that. So I don't trust Sam Altman, and I don't think we want to have the most powerful AI in the world controlled by someone who is not trustworthy. And sorry, I just don't. I mean,
but that seems like a fair concern.
Yeah.
But you don't think, as someone who knows him and has dealt with him, that he is worried about the possibility this could get out of control and hurt people?
He will say those words.
Yeah.
But no.
If if it became clear to the rest of us that it was out of control and posed a threat to humanity, would there be any way to stop it?
And ones that are, hopefully you have the AIs that are pro-human be stronger than the AIs that are not.
Battle of the AIs?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that is how it is with, say, chess these days. The AI chess programs are so vastly better than any human. Incomprehensibly better, meaning, like, we can't even understand why it made that move.
Right. Why they're so good, right? Yeah.
We don't even know why it made it. It'll make a move. We don't even know why it made the move. So, and in fact, some of the moves will seem like blunders, but then turn out to checkmate. So, and for a while, there was some the best human chess players with the best computers could beat just a computer, and then it got to the point where if you added a human, it just made everything worse. And then it was just AI. It's just computer programs versus computer programs. That's where things are headed in general.
At what point?
So I don't know. I think we just got to make sure we instill good values in the AI.
What's everyone going to do for a living?
I mean, in a benign AI scenario, that is probably the biggest challenge. Is how do you find meaning if AI is better than you at everything?
Yeah.
That's the benign scenario.
That's the good news?
Well, yeah, but I guess, for a lot of people like the idea of retiring, and,
Really, are you looking forward to it?
No, not me. I'd like to hope. I'd like to think that I'd like to do useful things.
Don't you think it's a universal desire?
It's not universal in that there are certainly, I know many people who prefer to be retired. That they prefer to sort of not have responsibilities and engage in leisure activities. So I mean we're on the cusp of this. It's really a remarkable time to exist. Well, I'll tell you, like one of the ways I sort of was able to sort of sleep and reconcile myself to this is that I thought, well, would I prefer to be alive and see the advent of digital superintelligence, or would I prefer to be alive at a different time and not see it? And I guess I'm like, well, I guess I'd prefer to be alive to see if it's going to happen. I prefer to be alive to see it happen. Yes. Out of curiosity. And then I was like, well, let's say you knew for sure it would kill everyone. Would you could now you can shift back in time? Like, I guess I'd want to be near the end of my life or something before that happened. But I would, at the end of the day, it's like, if it's going to happen and there's nothing you do about it, hypothetically, would you prefer to see it or not see it? And I guess if it's going to happen, I would prefer to see it rather than not see it.
It's weird that everything is regulated.
Yeah.
I mean, you said you're being sued by the Department of Justice for not hiring more asylum seekers for your high-tech company.
Yeah, even though it's illegal for us to hire asylum seekers.
Right. So they're watching everything, regulating everything, controlling everything, including our thoughts, right? That's why they're opposed to free speech. But they're not meaningfully regulating AI, which will eliminate like the purpose for most people's lives and could kill us all. It's a little weird.
Yeah, I think we should have some.
But why don't we? I guess
something above nothing.
Right. In that range.
Yeah.
But why don't we?
I don't know. I all the way back, during the Obama presidency, I met with Obama many times, but usually in like group settings. The one-on-one meeting I had with Obama in the Oval Office, I said, look, the one thing that we really need to do is set up at the beginnings of an AI regulatory agency. And it can start with insight, where you don't just come shooting from the hip, throwing out regulations. You just start with insight, where the AI regulatory committee simply goes in to understand what all the companies are doing, insight, and then proposes rules that all the AI companies agree to follow, just like sports teams in the NFL. You have proposed rules for football that everyone agrees to follow, that make the game better. So that's the way to do it. But nothing came of it.
What did he say when you said that to him?
I mean, he seemed to kind of agree, but also people didn't realize where AI was headed at that time. So AI seemed like some super futuristic,
for sure,
sci-fi basically. So I'm telling you, this is going to be smarter than the smartest human, and my predictions are coming absolutely true. And so we need to have some insight here, just to make sure that these companies aren't cutting corners, doing dangerous things. But Google kind of controlled the White House at that time, and they did not want any regulatory.
Well, that's it. I mean, you never see politicians turn down opportunities to become more powerful, which is the point of regulation. It makes them more powerful.
Yeah.
So it sounds like regulatory capture then.
Well, yeah. I mean, the CIO of the White House at the time was ex-Google person, so they put the brakes on any AI regulation. And we still don't have any AI regulation at the federal level.
What percentage of Google employees did you can when you got there?
You mean Twitter?
Rather. I beg your pardon. Sorry, you just been talking about Google. Twitter.
Yeah. Well, we're about 80%, and we've actually improved the features and functionality of the site more in the past year and a half than the last 8 years, with 20% of the staff. So
just I just want to throw that out for context. So you've talked to Trump about some kind of commission?
Which he's mentioned publicly several times, and he's very supportive of having some kind of government efficiency commission. Can call it Department of Government Efficiency, Doge. I kind of like Doge. It's more fun.
Yeah.
And we just take a look at at all the federal agencies and say, do we really need whatever it is, 428 federal agencies? Like, if there's so many that people have never even heard of, and that have overlapping areas of responsibility, we should, I don't know, probably we should get, I mean, there are more federal agencies than there are years since the establishment of the United States, which means that we've created more than one federal agency per year on average. That seems a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. So that seems crazy. I think we should be able to get away with 99 agencies. I don't know. That seems like a lot of agencies.
It's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
2 per state. That's a lot.
Yeah, exactly. We should have fewer agencies, and they certainly shouldn't have overlapping responsibilities. And then we need some kind of, we just need a review of regulations to say which ones are sensible and which ones are not. Because if you've got regulators, every year they're going to add more regulations, just automatic. Like they just output regulations. And there's more laws and regulations every year until basically everything's legal, so we can't get anything done. So we need some kind of garbage collection for regulations that don't make sense. I think I'm saying very obvious things.
You are saying obvious things.
Yeah. So
which will be very unpopular things.
Yeah. I'll probably need, if this happens, quite a significant security team. So because someone might literally go postal on me from the post office.
But in the meantime, you've got America PAC.
Yeah.
That is encouraging voting for the next month. Am I summarizing correctly?
Yeah. I mean, I formed America PAC really to support core values that I believe in, which are, I think, again, very obvious centrist positions, which is like in America, I think we want safe cities, secure borders, sensible spending. Tell me where I'm going far right here. You know, we want to have the right to self-protection. We should respect the Constitution and not try to break the Constitution. It's there for a reason. And, you know, we should stop lawfare. And I kind of listed these out. These are all listed on the America PAC website. People can go look at the America PAC website. It's theamericapac.org and see if there's anything I disagree with, or where perhaps we should modify these goals. But I think these are good goals to have. They were certainly part of the, and right to free speech, you know, First Amendment. If we don't have free speech, we don't have democracy, because people cannot make an informed vote. So those are my controversial views. And, you know, and look, I don't think either party, I don't think the Republicans are perfect. I don't think, obviously, right now, I'm more Republican than Democrat, but it's not like I think the Republican Party is perfect or is without issues. But we've got a choice between 2 candidates, and I think on balance, it's a no-brainer to vote for Trump. And if we don't vote for Trump, I think we're at serious risk of losing our democracy and becoming a one-party state where there isn't an election anymore. There's only a Democratic primary like there is in California.
Elon Musk, thank you very
You're
much.
welcome.